Grandmama, I feel a roast coming on.
No, it's Brunswick stew, y'all.
It's Brunswick stew.
It's getting, next week is Thanksgiving, and I am getting a head start. Today we're going to be making some Brunswick stew. I'm going to make it just exactly like my mama always made it.
Like my mama made it.
Like my mama made it. And I have a Boston butt here. It is a 5.70 pound Boston butt. It was originally $15.93. I got it for $8.20. Found it on sale. I stuck it in the freezer. It's a really, really nice piece of meat. So, because when I make my dressing, if I have pork broth, I use part pork broth and part chicken broth. I boil my own chicken.
Yeah.
And in my Brunswick stew, I do chicken and pork. I do Boston butt and I do boiled chicken. So because of that reason that I'm going to use some of this broth, this layer of fat back here. Oh, by the way, I'm Rose from Grandma Rose's up in pantry. And because I'm going to use some of this broth, I'm taking this big, thick layer of fat off. Now, I would not do this if I was just making a roast. But since I'm going to use part of my broth, I don't want all that grease in my broth. Now, I could put it in the refrigerator, let it gel up on top, and then take it off. But I just do it this way because the fat, it just rises to the top anyway. So, and all my flavor is going to come from the juice out of this meat. So, I just like to take this big, thick layer of fat off when I'm going to use the broth. So, all right. Now, all I am going to put on this is, let me wash my hands, is salt and pepper. And I have got my pan here that goes in and I'm going to do this in my little electric Cuisinart pressure cooker here. And so, but I'm just going to put, and because I'm using the broth, I've got it half full of water. If I was just going to do it like for pulled pork, I would just put like a cup of water in the bottom. But because I want more broth, I've got it half full of my, of water. Okay? So I'm just going to put salt. And I'm going to wash my hands in my water because my hands are clean. And I don't want pepper in the salt. Should have done the salt first. Alright. And I also salt and pepper my water. Okay. That's probably, I don't know, half a teaspoon in the water of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper. Now, because I am cooking it the way I am, I cut my roast in pieces. That way, it cooks a lot quicker.
And you're planning to tear it apart anyway.
I'm going to tear it apart anyway. I will not use all of this in my Brunswick stew. I will use some for pulled pork. But now, and I may use some for sandwiches. We like it just with
oh yeah,
mayonnaise, salt, and pepper, and a sandwich. And so it cooks in a third the time if you cut it in little chunks like this than it does if you put the whole roast in there. When you're going to use it for pulled pork or for Brunswick stew or what, if you're going to pull it apart anyway, why not go ahead and cut it up and let it cook quicker. So we're going to be doing several things for Thanksgiving. I'm making my Brunswick stew. I'm going to freeze it. I'm going to make some dressing. I'm going to freeze it. My daughter's going to her mother-in-law's Saturday. They're having their Thanksgiving. So I'm going to be making her some dressing. But I don't think I'm going to do that until like Thursday probably. my dressing. We're gonna be making sweet potato souffle. We're gonna be making some casseroles. Yesterday we made a hash brown supreme, a hash brown casserole supreme. Uh, and I told y'all I was I told y'all I was only half in the recipe, but I ended up having to do more. Well, guess what? Mike was here, our son, so we ate all but a little bit. So it's a good thing I made as much as I did. But I'm going to be making another one of those next week for our Thanksgiving. So, all right, honey, if you'll come around here, and you can see it's up to the fill line. It's up to the. It has a line in there where you can't. Right there, you can see where you can't. You're not supposed to put your water over that. So, all right. Now, you come right here. All right. I'm going to put it on pressure and put it on menu, and I want it on high pressure. And then I'm going to do it for like probably 40 minutes. That's about how long it usually takes to do a 5-pound roast. And I'm going to put it on start. And after 40 minutes, I will let the pressure come down on its own. It'll take about 15 minutes. Then we'll take the lid off. We'll pull it apart. By that time, I'll have my chicken ready. I'm just going to boil some chicken legs to put in my Brunswick stew. So I'll have all of my ingredients out. I'll have my chicken done and everything when we come back. And then we'll put our Brunswick stew together. So see you in a little bit.
Have we got some pre-Brunswick stew meat here?
We do, y'all. I want y'all to look at this. See how I cut it in chunks?
Oh, yeah.
It's too hot for me to handle. Usually I take my hands, and I'm going to this time. I'm going to let it cool. And I pull it apart, but I just wanted to show y'all. Look at that. It is so tender. And I put it on high pressure. Now, that's the way you want it if you're going to do pulled pork or if you're going to do Brunswick stew or anything like that. You want it where it'll just pull apart.
Really tender.
Real tender. 40 minutes on high pressure.
It's delicious. I tasted of it.
It is really good. But I just wanted to show y'all. I'm going to let this cool. I've got my chicken boiled over here. I had, let's see, 7 cups of chicken broth there, and I've got about 7 or 8 cups of pork broth in here that's really hot.
Now, in holiday seasons, this broth is like gold.
Yes, I put it in the refrigerator or I put it in the freezer, and I use it for a lot of things. And but I just wanted to come on and show y'all how tender this is. It cooked 40 minutes, and as soon as it cools, then I'm going to pick, and my chicken is still hot also. I'm going to pick all of this, and then and I've got my little pot right here. And we are going to put all our Brunswick stew together. I've got all my ingredients out over here. So I'm having to improvise a little bit this morning. I said I'm going to make it just like Mama. Well, I didn't have all the ingredients, but I do have some homemade ingredients. So like tomatoes, I'm going to use my homemade tomatoes where she used diced tomatoes. Same ingredients, just processed a little differently. So we'll be back in a few minutes.
How's it going, Grandmama?
Okay, y'all, I'm going to do some serious cooking now. I got my apron on. No, I was frying Roy some rabbit, so I had to put my apron on. I got flour all over me, so I hope I'm presentable. But this is my chicken, and I took a scissors and I took a chopper because I want it chopped up really good, real fine. I don't want any big chunks in it. Okay, now.
That's good.
I wanted to show y'all on a Boston butt, inside the Boston butt, all in the meat is little pieces of fat or gristle. And so that's the reason I said I had to let it cool, is because I take that and I get all my meat off of that gristle and that fat, and I'll put my little pieces of fat and gristle over here like that. It's all,
And Roxy loves it.
it's all through the Boston butt. And it looks like a good bit, but it's really not. You just have to pick it out. If you've ever used a Boston butt for barbecue or pulled pork, then you know you do the same thing. And so I was just showing you how you just go in there and get all that little meat off of that little fat and gristle, and you put it to the side, and then you just keep pulling your meat apart. And I'm going to make it about the same size as my chicken because I want it all my meat about the same size. And we're going to have like 6 cups of pork and about 3 cups of chicken is what I put in my Brunswick stew. And then we have the broth and different vegetables. So I just wanted to show you how to do this. Let me see if I can find another piece that's got the little fat and gristle in it. I may have gotten, okay, right here. You see that little piece of fat that's running through that? Now, if you buy barbecue, like in a barbecue place, you may get some of that because they do leave some of that in it. But in my Brunswick stew, I do not like any. Now, here's one right here. Okay. See, I took that piece of fat out. All right, you see this? That's fat. All right, that's fat. Now, there's meat inside of that fat. So, you just take your fat. That's the reason you have to cook it all to pieces to where it's just really, really tender. See that? I did not want that in my Brunswick stew. So.
Or she can just put it on my plate and it's not a problem.
No. He would eat pure fat if I'd let him.
No, not pure fat.
Well, that's what that was, is pure fat. Okay, here's another little piece. So I'm just taking that little fat out. I'm going to keep doing this. And then we're going to come back and start putting our Brunswick stew together.
All right, Granny Mama, what you doing?
All right, y'all. I have shown y'all before how if I have hot broth, I put ice cubes in it to congeal that fat. And that's what I've done right here. See, look at all that fat.
You've already congealed it.
I've already congealed it, dipped it off, and I'm doing a little bit more because there was a little bit more. It looked a little bit fatter than I wanted. So I'm just going to leave that in there for just another second or two. Okay, you can back up, baby. All right, now to this. This is 1 pint of my home canned tomatoes. And if you don't have those, use diced tomatoes. All right, I'm putting one.
This is how you start your Brunswick stew, right?
Yes, okay. 1 6-ounce can of tomato paste. Now, if you don't want tomato paste, you can add tomato sauce. If you don't have that, you can add more diced tomatoes. That's just up to you. But this is just the way I do it, okay? All right. It's pretty simple from here. Once you get your meat done, it's simple. All you do is put it all in there and let it cook for like 30 minutes because everything is done anyway. All right. Now, to that, I am going to add, I've got chicken broth right here. So this is 4 cups. This is about 3 cups. I'm going to add 3 cups of chicken broth. And I'm going to get the rest of my fat off my pork broth. It don't matter if there's ice cubes on it, but because they're going to melt anyway. Let me turn this on. I've got it on like 6. All right, now to this. All right, I'll just use this jar. No, it's got tomato in it. I'm going to use that measuring cup for something else. I'll use this one. All right, I'm going to put, that's 2 cups of pork broth, and I'm going to put 1 more cup. All right, 3 cups of pork broth, 3 cups of chicken broth. All right, Now, let me get me a big spoon right here, honey. Okay. All right, let's stir this up. I got it turned on. All right. To this, I'm going to add 1 can. It is a 15.25 ounce can of whole kernel corn with the juice. Because to me, the juice, you have nutrients in that juice. This is young, small peas. You can use a little sour if you want to, but I get these at Aldi's, 15-ounce can. They're just as good as the little sours to me. Okay. Now, to that, we are going to add a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce, and that's about all that's in here. So I'm going to put the whole thing. We're going to add, let me see, it calls for 2 cups of ketchup. So, right here. Here's my measuring cup. So I'm going to put 2 cups of ketchup. Seems like a lot of ketchup, but this is a lot of Brunswick stew. And if you don't want that much ketchup, don't put it.
Was that unsweetened or?
No, this,
No
I'm
sugar?
not making it no sugar added.
Okay. So that was sugar.
Because, yeah, it's for the
That's
whole
sugar.
family. But you can use the no sugar added. It's just as good. All right. So until you get everything added, do not add any more tomatoes, except for what I'm telling you in the recipe, because you don't want it too tomatoey, and that ketchup is going to make it kind of tomatoey. Okay? All right, now, I've got another can of peas out over here that I may add to it, and I think I am, because it's not as many veggies in there as I want it. You can add more corn. You can add whatever you want. You can add cream corn if you want to. We just don't like it. I'll put half the can, and I'll see. I go a lot by looks. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to taste of it, and I'm going to see how it tastes. Calls for vinegar. Oh my goodness. That's good, y'all. All right. Now, Mama's recipe said 5 tablespoons of vinegar. I found that that was a little bit more than what I wanted in mine. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of vinegar. And the ketchup has vinegar in it. All right. That's 2 tablespoons of just white vinegar.
But now it can be more vinegary for Roy.
Yes,
it just depends upon who you're wanting to season it for.
Right. And I season it for the whole family.
Yep.
So, all right. Now, this is not in Mama's recipe. This is Mrs. Griffith's barbecue sauce. And I'm going to put about 1/4 cup in that, because I have found that it's really, really good with just that 1/4 cup of barbecue sauce in it. Okay, I'm going to taste of it again. See if I got it just about right.
You want this soup to be very good to your taste before you go to add meat.
Before you add your meat. That is really good.
Because if you don't, you wind up trying to season your meat and your soup all at the same time.
All right, I'm going to put a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper. This is when you season it now. Okay. Now, Mama always put spaghetti noodles, and she broke them up in little bitty places. But some of my family didn't like this. They didn't want the spaghetti noodles. So what I've got in here is I've got 2 potatoes about that size that I diced up really fine, and I steamed them in my microwave. They're fully done, And it's an onion about this size that I steamed with it. So I'm going to put that in there. They like the potato better than they did the spaghetti noodles. So, okay. Now that's looking right. All right. I'm going to taste of it again, one more time. That's really good, y'all. Okay. Now I'm going to put my meat. I'm going to put my chicken first. And I guess I'll measure it because it takes about 3 cups of chicken. And you can make it, put as much meat in it as you want, okay? That's 3 cups of chicken. And now I'm going to measure my pork roast, my Boston butt. That's 4 cups. I'm going to put 1 more cup. I want to save some for some barbecue. Okay? All right. Now, I've got this on 6. Now it's looking right. Look at that, honey. Looks like Brunswick stew. We can always tell by the color of it whether I've got it right or not with the ketchup and the tomato. And we taste of it and make sure the vinegar's right. That looks just like Brunswick stew to me.
It does to me too.
Okay, I may go get another.
Looks a little tiny bit pink.
I'm gonna put the rest of the. I may go get a little bit of corn, a little bit more corn, and put in it. I probably won't though, since I've got the potatoes in it. But that is the perfect consistency right there for Brunswick stew. And as you can see, this is a 6-quart stock pot right here, and this is probably, it's got 5 quarts in it. So this is enough for us to eat now and then freeze a little bit later. Okay. That's good, but Roy's going to tell me it needs more ketchup. I can tell you what he's going to say.
Well, it looks it.
Yeah, but I'm going to let you taste of it. All right, I'm going to give him a taste. Pretty good, ain't it?
Woo.
Think it needs more salt?
Just a tad.
I think so too.
Tad of black pepper too.
Okay. Sometimes I put a little Louisiana hot sauce in it, but children are going to be eating it, so
You got any hot Mrs. Griffiths?
I do.
Put a little bit of that in it.
Honey, I'm scared of the children. That is so hot. Okay. I'm scared it would be too hot for them. So.
Well, I just thought in that big of amount it wouldn't matter.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me taste it again.
I'm going to leave it like this and let it cook about 15 or 20 minutes. And then once all these flavors kind of blend together, I can tell if it's going to need any more tomato or ketchup or anything.
That's getting real close.
But I think it's got enough. I know it's got enough tomato. So, all right. I'm going to let this cook about.
I think actually just a little dash of vinegar, a little dash more vinegar is what
I'm going to let it cook first. I'm going to let it cook about 20 minutes and then we'll taste of it. And if it needs a little bit more, then we'll put more. And if not, then I'll just leave it like this. So I'm going to let it cook for about 20 minutes, taste of it. If it needs anything, I'll come back to you what it is. If not, I'm going to let it cook about 30 minutes. And then it's going to be ready for us to eat. So.
Woo! Woo! Brunswick stew!
Okay, y'all. Y'all tell Roy's in the house. All right, my Brunswick stew is ready. And I'm going to taste it for y'all. Of course, I've been tasting off and on so I can get it right.
It's delicious. It is so good.
Y'all, that's good. And I've got 2 different kinds of crackers out here. But you can eat it with whatever you want. Now, I just put it in a crock pot on Thanksgiving morning. I'll put it in a crock pot and it stays hot. And so people just, and I have little bowls, they just put it in bowls and they eat it along with their regular food. So, but it's delicious. I cooked it about 30 minutes after I got everything in it. And it's so good.
Delicious.
Okay, y'all. Freezes really, really well. Make you some Brunswick stew for the holidays. Please share this video, subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell. Food feeds the family, family feeds the heart, God feeds the soul. Make you some Brunswick stew.
You got it.
See y'all tomorrow.